The polar bear, with its majestic white coat and formidable presence, is one of the Arctic's most iconic and fierce predators. With sharp claws, strong jaws, and keen sense of smell, these traits allow polar bears to become expert hunters. These incredible animals possess a range of adaptations that make them perfectly suited for life on the ice, while their thick fur and fat layers keep them warm in the harsh Arctic. So let's explore more about these impressive apex predators of the Arctic, the polar bear. The scientific name for polar bears is Ursus maritimus. This name comes from Latin, where Ursus means bear, maritimus means of the sea. So the name means bear the sea. This is a good name for polar bears because they spend a lot of their lives in the water. Polar bears belong to the family of bears known as Ursidae. This family includes other types of bears like brown bears, black bears, and panda bears. Within this family, polar bears are part of the genus Ursus. The genus Ursus includes the brown bear, which is also known as the grizzly bear, and the American black bear. Polar bears are very important to the Arctic ecosystem. They help keep the seal population in check, which in turn affects the population of other animals and plants. Because polar bears are at the top of the food chain, they are considered an indicator species. This means that the health of the polar bear population can give scientists clues about the overall health of the Arctic environment. People who live in the Arctic, such as the Inuit, have a deep respect for the polar bears. They have lived alongside these animals for thousands of years and have developed a strong understanding of their behavior and needs. Polar bears are unique because they are the only bears that live in the Arctic and are especially adapted to this cold environment. These animals have been around for thousands of years. To understand the origins of polar bears, we need to look at their history and how they evolved. Polar bears have a close relationship with the brown bears. Scientists believe that polar bears and brown bears share a common ancestor. This means that a long time ago, there was a type of bear that eventually evolved into both polar bears and brown bears. The two species split apart and adapted to different environments. Brown bears stayed on land and adapted to forests and mountains, while polar bears moved to the Arctic and adapted to the cold, icy environment. As the ice melts and freezes, polar bears follow it, moving across large distances. Scientists believe that polar bears split from brown bears about 150,000 years ago. This is relatively recent in terms of evolution. Despite their differences, polar bears and brown bears are still closely related. They can even mate and produce offspring, although this is rare. There are an estimate between 22,000 and 31,000 polar bears in the wild today. They are spread out across 5 countries: the United States and Alaska, Canada, Russia, Greenland, and Norway. These countries have large areas of Arctic land and ice, which provides the natural habitat that the polar bears need. Polar bears have long necks and a narrow head. Their ears are small and round, which helps reduce heat loss. They have large paws, which helps them walk around on snow and ice without sinking. The bottoms of their paws are covered with small bumps and cavities, which create friction and prevent slipping. Each paw also has sharp claws that helps them catch their prey and break through the ice. One interesting fact about polar bears is that they are not actually white. Their fur is made up of hollow hairs that reflect light, making them appear to be white. This helps them blend in with their snowy surroundings, which is important for hunting seals, their main food source. They have a fat layer which can be up to 4.5 inches thick. On top of this fat, they have 2 layers of fur. The outer layer of fur is made up of long guard hairs that stick together and repel water. Underneath, there is a dense layer of underfur that traps heat close to their bodies. Underneath their fur, their skin is black. This black skin helps them absorb heat from the sun, keeping them warm in the cold Arctic environment. Males can weigh up to 1,600 pounds and stand about 10 feet tall on their hind legs. Females are smaller, weighing up to 800 pounds and standing at about 8 feet tall. Despite their size, polar bears are very good swimmers. They use their large front paws to paddle through the water and can swim for hours at a time. They have been known to swim more than 60 miles without stopping. On land, polar bears walk with a slow, steady gait. Their large paws distribute their weight evenly, preventing them from sinking into the snow. They can also run quickly for short distances if needed. They also have a keen sense of smell, which they use to locate seals. Polar bears are the largest land carnivores. The diet of a polar bear mainly consists of seals, especially ringed seals and bearded seals. They also eat other animals like birds and fish if seals are not available. They're capable of smelling a seal from almost a mile away and can even detect seals that are hiding under several feet of snow. Polar bears hunt seals by waiting near holes in the ice where seals come up to breathe. When a seal comes up for air, the polar bear quickly grabs it with its powerful paws. Sometimes, polar bears also hunt by stalking seals resting on the ice. They slowly creep closer and then rush in to catch the seal. Besides seals, polar bears may eat other animals like birds and fish if they are available. Polar bears need a lot of fat to survive in the cold, so they prefer to eat the blubber of seals. This high-fat diet helps them build up a thick layer of fat, which insulates their bodies and provides energy. Polar bears mainly eat seals, which are rich in fat, and their digestive system is well suited for their high-fat diet. Their stomachs can hold large amounts of food at once, allowing them to feast when food is available. This is important because their meals are not always regular. The digestive system breaks down the fat quickly, providing energy and building up its fat reserves. They are also solitary animals, meaning they spend most of their time alone. The only time you will see polar bears together is when a mother is raising her cubs or when several bears come together to feed on a large food source, like a whale carcass. Mother polar bears give birth to 1 to 3 cubs, usually in December or January. The cubs are born in a den that the mother has dug into the snow. They stay in the den for about 3 months, nursing and growing stronger. In the spring, the mother and the cubs leave the den and begin exploring the world outside. Polar bears have strong, sturdy bones that support their massive bodies. Male polar bears can weigh between 900 and 1,600 pounds, while females usually weigh between 330 and 650 pounds. Their bones are adapted to carry this weight and help them move on ice and snow. Their large skulls and powerful jaws give them a strong bite force. Polar bears need this strength to catch and eat their prey. Their sharp teeth and strong jaws can crush the thick blubber and bones of seals. This ability is crucial for their diet, as they need to consume large amounts of food to maintain their energy and body heat. Polar bears communicate through vocalizations, body language, and scent markings. They growl, hiss, or roar to show aggression or when they feel threatened. They also use body language such as standing on their hind legs or lowering their heads to communicate with other bears. Scent markings are used to leave information about their presence and to establish territory. There are 19 recognized subpopulations of polar bears. These subpopulations are spread across the Arctic region, where each subpopulation lives in a specific area and has adapted to the conditions of that area. For example, the southern Beaufort Sea subpopulation lives along the coast of Alaska and Canada. These bears rely heavily on the sea ice to hunt seals. In recent years, the sea ice in this area has been melting earlier in the season, forcing the bears to swim longer distances and spend more time on land. This makes it harder for them to find food. The western Hudson Bay subpopulation lives in the Hudson Bay area of Canada. These bears are unique because they spend a significant part of the year on land. During the summer, the ice in Hudson Bay melts completely and the bears have to fast until the ice forms again in the fall. During this time, they rely on their fat reserves to survive. The Barents Sea population lives in the waters around Norway and Russia. These bears have access to a mix of sea ice and land, which allows them to hunt seals and other animals throughout the year. However, this area is also experiencing changes in sea ice due to climate change, which does impact the bear's ability to find food. Polar bears face many challenges today. The biggest threat to their survival is climate change. Without sea ice, polar bears have to swim longer distances and work harder to find food. This can lead to malnutrition and lower cub survival rates. Conservation efforts are underway to help protect polar bears and their habitat. Organizations around the world are working to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, which contribute to climate change. They are also working to protect polar bear habitats by creating protected areas where polar bears can hunt and live without human interference. In addition to climate change, polar bears are also threatened by pollution and human activities such as oil drilling and shipping. Oil spills can be especially harmful to polar bears because oil can coat their fur and make it difficult for them to stay warm. Pollution can also affect the seals that polar bears rely on for food. Polar bears are amazing animals that have adapted to survive in one of the harshest environments on Earth. By understanding their morphology and the different subpopulations, we can appreciate the challenges they face and work to protect these incredible creatures for future generations. How can we help these animals? Should oil drilling and shipping be banned altogether? Should there be a law for all companies to be carbon negative to prevent global warming? In the worst case scenario, can polar bears adapt and move south to live with grizzlies? We have our thoughts, but if you enjoyed this video, then make sure to check out the next one shown on screen.